and welcome to the 18th edition of Marex Maritime News. These are the headlines on Monday, 15th June 2020.
Latest jury report indicates officer shortfall to widen in the global merchant fleet.
Leading class societies roll out certifications for infection prevention measures.
Lockdown has ended, pandemic hasn't, says renowned marine doctor.
Fishermen from Gujarat reach home by INS Shardul. NUSI Kaam Ki Baat discusses the dire need for inward international flights. And now the news in detail. The current officer shortfall in the global merchant fleet, despite the dampening effects of the COVID-19, is forecast to grow, as stated by the latest Manning Annual Report published by the global shipping consultancy Drewry. The report indicates that the anticipated shortfall of the officers is due to the reduced attractiveness of a career at sea, and the rising shortages is expected to inflate the future manning costs.
See, the attractiveness towards this career at sea depends upon the awareness about this profession to our aspiring youth. While in the metros, the youngsters are more exposed to wider options about this career, we can attract still very good youth from smaller cities. As far as the forecast for seafarer shortages, they've always been projected by various organizations. But the shipping companies all over the world are not together to address this in an organized manner. All ship owners, recruit as on need basis. What we need to do is to organize the intake in such a way that it meets the projected worldwide demand, and not individually. So till this happens, I think it'll always be a question of supply and demand, and more of demand.
Career at sea is not lucrative among the young, bright, intelligent young people. The reason is that we have never taken a long-term view, and we have never bothered to meet the requirement of the aspiring youth of 21st century. In the last 100 years, the number of ships has increased by 8 times. The size has become bigger by 10 times. But the number of people on the ship has reduced by half. We follow the minimum safe manning, not the optimum safe manning. It gives too much pressure on the ship staff. They are very tired, fatigued, they are lonely. They do not have the adequate welfare measure on the ship. Their accommodation is not up to the mark, spacious. They don't have so much welfare measure. The connectivity for the family is poor. So we have to meet all these the modern requirement to attract the people. We have to give a good salary to the young people. I have seen that during the last 5 years, the salary of the young people have been slashed drastically. So that is not good. Also, the treatment meted out to the senior officers are not at par with the civil servants or the other corporate sector bosses. When a master or the chief engineer, they are taking the billion-dollar assets and taking care of so many lives and the requirements of the global trade, but they are not getting the proper respect. So we have to think in totality. We have to give them the respect. We have to stop the seafarers, criminalization of seafarer, and we have to give them enough pay package, enough training, etc.
In the ongoing COVID pandemic, leading class societies have started guiding the cruise vessel sector to restore operations by rolling out new certifications for infection prevention measures. Will this move speed up the return of cruise tourism across the globe?
The cruise segment has also been quite adversely affected by the prevailing situation. IMO, BIMCO, ICS, Paint-Eye clubs have all come out with guidance papers to ship owners, operators, ports and terminals, suppliers, etc. towards dealing with this pandemic. Specifically speaking about the cruise ship industry, leading cruise ship operators have put in place pandemic procedures keeping in mind passenger and crew safety. DNVGL, as the world's leading classification society, has come up with a certification in infection program for the maritime industry. DNVGL's certification in infection program enables vessel owners and operators to demonstrate that they have procedures and systems in place for proper prevention, control and mitigation of infection to protect their passengers and crew.
The ongoing pandemic is changing the way the classification societies do things. One aspect of this change is the importance of biorisk or biosafety management, which is expected to increase in line with our mission as a third-party certification body. At Class NK, we are constantly expanding the coverage of our service, responding to such changing industry needs. In the past, we have done this for ISM, ISPS and MLC, and we are currently doing for cybersecurity, GHG verification and more. The latest challenge for us, as you know, is infection prevention caused by the pandemic due to COVID-19, that is to deal with increased biorisk or biosafety management challenges, which we are currently engaged in.
India recorded over 10,000 new COVID-19 cases in a single day recently for the first time, and the death toll rose to around 9,000. Data indicates that the COVID-19 curve in India hasn't flattened yet, although most of the districts across the country have entered Unlock 1.0, a phased easing up of the lockdown. As they say, the lockdown has ended, but the pandemic hasn't.
COVID-19 seems to have taken most of 2020 away from us. While countries begin to unlock, global trends of the virus still paint a grim picture. During this lockdown, while most of the world responded by locking themselves up, it was the maritime industry that continued to connect the world and keep trade alive. It has not been easy for the staff ashore or our heroes at sea. While Unlock 1.0 begins in India, what seems to have really changed on the ground? Well, has the pandemic ended? No. Is the risk less? Not at all. Do we have a cure or a vaccine? No. But what has changed is our resolve that we must not give in, but find safe and measured responses that will allow us to cope and move back to normalcy in this new world. 3 simple yet fundamental measures to take during these times as we start moving back to normalcy is taking abundant precaution, being aware of the signs and symptoms, being aware of people around us, and then the access to good quality care. At 3Q Medicare, our duty of care team of medical doctors providing 24/7 remote medical assistance and a wellness team of subject experts has been actively involved in providing the precautions, the awareness, as well as access to good quality prompt care 24/7, having assisted close to 300 ships since April of the fleets of Anglo, Eastern and Seaspan, feeding close to 95% of these seafarers completely on board. There is evidence that access to good and prompt care leads to proactive and healthy seafarers. This, with a focused approach on the mind and body wellness of our seafarers by subject experts, ensures that we deliver the duty of care to our heroes at sea. Lastly, I once again reiterate the three fundamental measures required as we move into Unlock 1.0: precaution, verified awareness, and access to good and prompt care. Friends, stay fit and stay healthy.
Under Operation Samudra Setu, initiated by the Indian Navy, 233 Indians arrived from Iran at Porbandar port in Gujarat recently. Most of these evacuated Indians are fishermen belonging to the Valsad city located in South Gujarat.
મારું નામ રાજેશભાઈ વિદ્યાભાઈ ટંડેલ, વલસાડ જિલ્લો, તાલુકો ઉમરગામ, ગામ ફણસામાં રહેવાનું. છેલ્લા 7 મહિનાથી હું ઈરાનમાં સ્થિત હતો માછીમારી માટે, અને ત્યાં આવી સ્થિતિ સર્જાઈ. ઘણી તકલીફો પણ પડી, છતાં ભારત સરકાર અહીંયા સુધી અમને લઈ આવ્યા સહી સલામત અને સારી એવી કાળજીપૂર્વક. એ બદલ ભારત સરકાર તેમજ શાર્દુલ ગ્રુપનો હું ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર વ્યક્ત કરું છું. મારા ભાઈઓ વતી, મારા વતી ખરેખર દિલથી આભાર વ્યક્ત કરું છું.
આજ રોજ તારીખ 11 જૂન 2020ના રોજ ઈરાનથી પોરબંદર ખાતે INS શાર્દુલમાં ભારતીય જે માછીમારો કે ખલાસીઓ જે હતા એ 233ની સંખ્યામાં એને અહીંયા પોરબંદર ખાતે INS શાર્દુલ દ્વારા ભારત સરકારના, ગુજરાત સરકારના પ્રયત્નો દ્વારા પહોંચતા કરવામાં આવે છે. તમામ જે પ્રવાસીઓ ઉતર્યા એ તમામનું આપણે ત્યાં જેટી ઉપર જ એના માલ સામાનનું સેનિટાઇઝેશન પોરબંદર નગરપાલિકા દ્વારા કરવામાં આવ્યું. ત્યાર પછી બસોની વ્યવસ્થા કરી અને જે GMBનો હોલ છે ત્યાં એનું મેડિકલ સ્ક્રીનિંગ કરવામાં આવી રહ્યું છે. આ તમામનું મેડિકલ સ્ક્રીનિંગ થઈ ગયા બાદ આ તમામને જુદી જુદી જગ્યાએ ડિસ્ટ્રિક્ટ ક્વોરન્ટાઇનમાં મૂકવામાં આવશે. પોરબંદર ખાતે જે 233 ઈરાનથી આપણા ભારતના નાગરિકો જે આવેલા છે એને ગોઢાણીયા કોલેજ, હાથનો પોલિટેકનિક અને વરનાળા નર્સિંગ કોલેજ ખાતે અને જુદી જુદી સંખ્યામાં દરેકને ડિસ્ટ્રિક્ટ ક્વોરન્ટાઇન કરવામાં આવશે. ત્યારબાદ જ્યારે ડિસ્ટ્રિક્ટ ક્વોરન્ટાઇન પૂર્ણ થયા બાદ તેઓને તેમના વતનમાં જવા દેવામાં આવશે. ખાસ કરીને જે આ પ્રવાસીઓ આવેલા છે એમાં વલસાડ, ઉમરગામ, નવસારી ત્યાંના ખલાસી ભાઈઓ અને તમામ પ્રક્રિયા ભારત સરકારના જે COVID-19નો જે પ્રોટોકોલ છે એને અનુસરીને એના માલ સામાનના સેનિટાઇઝેશનથી લઈ અને તમામને માસ્ક, સ્ક્રીનિંગ, ગ્લોવ્સ, સેનિટાઇઝેશન અને ત્યાર પછી DQમાં મોકલવામાં આવશે. અને DQમાં પણ તે લોકોની તમામની રહેવા જમવાની પૂરતી સગવડતા માન્ય કલેક્ટર શ્રી DN મોદી સાહેબ, જિલ્લા કલેક્ટર શ્રી પોરબંદરના નેતૃત્વ હેઠળ અને જિલ્લા વિકાસ અધિકારી શ્રી પોરબંદર શ્રી VK અડવાણી સાહેબના નેતૃત્વ હેઠળ ચારે જગ્યાએ ડૉક્ટરોની પણ ટીમ અને તમામ ટીમો મૂકી અને એ તમામની દેખરેખ રાખે અને ત્યારબાદ DQ પૂર્ણ થયા બાદ તેઓને તેમના વતનમાં જવા દે.
India's leading maritime union, the National Union of Seafarers of India, NUSI, recently held an interaction through Facebook Live titled Kaam Ki Baat. The General Secretary, Mr. Abdul Ghani Sarang, discussed a variety of issues, including the dire need to increase the number of inward international flights to India to enable larger crew transfers.
Thousands of our seafarers, both on cargo ships and cruise ships, are awaiting repatriation. They are there outside India and they need to come back. The stakeholders, the unions, the ship owners, the ship managers, along with the Maritime Administration, have taken it up very strongly with the Government of India, the Ministry of Shipping, the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs, to enable our seafarers to come back home. The process has yielded results, and we have many hundreds of seafarers who have already come in the Indian ports. So the process of our seafarers coming to the Indian ports for signing off and signing on has already started. Equally, we need more and more airplanes to come and bring back our seafarers who are there outside India. Our seafarers are doing a tremendous job. They have extended their contract. What more you can ask? But they also need to come back home. They need to come back to their family. We need more and more incoming flights. If you see the DG Shipping website, you will find there are a number of more than 40 airlines, details of flights, but these are more of the outgoing flight. We need more and more flights to come in. That will only solve the problem, because the urgency is required for the incoming flights. That is very important. We have taken it up. The Vande Bharat flights have not helped the seafarers situation in that sense. We need an exclusive Seafarers Express Vande Bharat, a Vande Bharat Seafarers mission, something to bring back our seafarer. It can be done. We have taken it up with the government, and we are quite sanguine that it will happen. Till that time, we have to be content with the chartered flight. But again, as I said, the incoming flights, clearances for the incoming flight has to come about real soon. That will only ease the situation.
Ship Management Group, V.Group, has managed to repatriate over 7,000 seafarers in the last 3 months, but says that the crew change remains the number one challenge facing the maritime industry. Despite restrictions on travel and lack of commercial air flights due to the measures of government across the globe to try and stem the COVID-19 pandemic, V.Group has successfully repatriated 7,315 seafarers since 17 March. The seafarers comprised 89 nationalities and were moved from 662 vessels.
While we are happy that we have been able to effect 7,000 crew changes or so, we are focusing now for those that still remain on board well beyond their contract. In the Indian context, we are working closely with the Force Masa initiatives of charter flights from Delhi to Doha, and buoyed by the success of these flights and the uptake, we are now introducing a flight from Mumbai as well every 4 days. So effectively, there will be a Force Masa flight every alternate day, alternating between Delhi and Mumbai. This, of course, helps the situation to a large extent, but the biggest challenge still remains about visa restrictions for Indians to travel into several countries, and we are working closely with the ITF and IMEC to try and resolve this issue. Till then, my message to the seafarers: keep going, guys. We are working on you for your relief, and stay safe.
The tragedy of the Titanic has stayed with us ever since its sinking on 14th April of 1912. Much has been said of its passengers in tales, myths and films. But what about her crew? The steam engines of the Titanic were run by burning coal, 6,600 tons of which could be carried in the Titanic's bunkers. The furnaces required over 600 tons of coal a day to be shoveled into them by hand, requiring the services of 176 firemen working round the clock. 100 tons of ash a day had to be disposed of by ejecting it into the sea. The work was relentless, dirty and dangerous. And although firemen were paid relatively generously, reports say that there was very high suicide rate among those who worked in that capacity. Sure, a life at sea has never been easy.
Thank you for watching. See you all next Monday.